Hey everyone, it's Sunday, and you know what we do on Sundays? It's time for another episode of Record Collecting with the Quill. The past 2 weeks we've sort of going off the rails, doing a countdown for the Quill 30th anniversary and going through all the Quill albums. But today we're back in business in the usual way. It was a lot of fun talking about all those Quill albums. It's a lot of memories, and I gotta say thank you to all of you who commented. Also gotta say thank you to everyone who came out for the special anniversary show. It was tons of fun. Everyone on stage who's ever been in the band, everyone from Peter, Anders, we had Robert Trickes, we had Magnus Arner as well, and also some special guests, Connie from Electric Boys and Cale from Mönsterås Blues Band. So it was a fantastic evening, as I said, lots of fun. And I also got to say thank you to all of you who went to the library in our hometown of Mönsterås watching the exhibition. It's open another week, so if you haven't been around Mönsterås yet, make sure you visit. It's only 1 week left of the exhibition. We also did a small unplugged show yesterday, which was a lot of fun. Played a couple of tunes we rarely played, and we also debuted a new track for something special coming later this year, which was a lot of fun as well. We haven't played unplugged in a long while, so lots of fun. So thank you for all of you coming out for all those special events. But today we're back in business as usual, and the theme for today is Americana. I've been listening to, for these past few years, I've been listening to more and more, getting into this style of music, or American roots music, or whatever you call it. I don't know if it has with age. I quite like sort of more mellow tunes, getting into sort of almost like country flavored music and blues and all that stuff. So I thought I'd pick out some of my favorite albums I've discovered these past 5-10 years or so, and discuss a little bit about them and what I like about them. But before we start, you know the good old drill. Make sure you subscribe, hit that little notice bell, and share with your friends as well. Well, starting out, as I said, Americana is quite a wide genre of music. There's tons of different bands, and I guess you could argue what bands are in that genre. But and as I said, it's quite wide. But I sort of picked some, and if you don't agree with me, well, let me know in the comment section. But I'm starting out with this one. This is an artist I've been enjoying quite a lot lately, J.J Cale, and his album Naturally. I'm really fond of his. I don't know if I've mentioned this album before, but you have two really famous tracks here. You have Call Me the Breeze, and you have After Midnight as well. But they've been, After Midnight was a big hit for Eric Clapton. So he's sort of going under the radar a bit, has been for a long while, and his music are really sort of mellow, as I said, but great lyrics, and he has such a deep voice and a cool style that I'm quite fond of. So I've been, as I said, enjoying his album immensely. I saw a documentary as well, I think it was on Swedish television actually, about his career that was quite interesting. One of these artists that's always went his own way, not listening to labels or advice, and just sort of did it his way, which is really cool. I wish more artists were like these guys and women who sort of paved their own way. But a really cool album, J.J Cale, Naturally. Another one is, I think, a band I mentioned before that I've been raving. It's one of my favorite bands for these past few years, Little Feat, and this is their third album, Dixie Chicken. Also always weird covers, album covers, but great music. On this you have the title track Dixie Chicken, you have Two Trains, Roll 'em Easy, so much good stuff on this one. Fat Man in a Bathtub as well. And a great band, as I said, always sort of really, there's a blues vibe and great guitar playing from Will George as well. Great slide playing. Ultimately, I think they're still around, but I think there's only one or maybe two original members. There's not many left of them anymore, but all the Little Feat albums from the 70s are really good. So you can buy, if you run into them, you can buy them. You find something you like, I'm pretty sure. Another one, this one I bought recently. Sham Band, and he started out in Sir Douglas Quintet, Sham, and they made some great albums and some great track. And this is his first solo album, I believe, from 1972, sort of country rock. And you have famous guests here. You have Bob Dylan guesting on this one. Also, sort of a mellow album, but you also have Dr. John, I believe, featured there on the cover as well. And if you look at all these albums, you have a lot of the same players on all of them, and that's probably why I like all of them in a way. They sort of have a really identifiable sound, which I think is really cool. But this one, this is a little more country flavored than the others I picked. But as you see, he's playing fiddle as well, which makes it a little bit more country music than the others I picked for this week. Nonetheless, a cool album. So Sham and Band, his first solo album. Next one, talking about slide, Ry Cooder. I think this is his third or fourth album, Boomer's Story. Great slide player. He actually played slide on the first Little Feat album for, I think Lowell George had hurt himself for the recording, so Ry Cooder ended up playing the slide guitar on the album. And he did some great albums in the 70s as well. Really good, as I said, slide, bluesy style, some great tracks. Boomer's Story is a favorite of mine. I discovered him through Black Crowes, actually. They've done covers of a lot of his songs and actually named the band. There's a track called Crow Black Chicken, where I think was sort of helped them finding their name. And also they covered a lot of his tunes, and from this one, Boomer's Story is one they played quite a lot over the years. But this one I'm really fond of. I listen to this quite a lot. Also sort of really greasy, if you can describe music as greasy. This is one album to get if you're into that. Then into some newer music. This is a new favorite of mine called Israel Nash, or I think for this album he's called Israel Nash Gripka, but I think he usually refers to himself as Israel Nash. This album is called Barn Doors and Concrete Floors, and I believe has a few years. I think it was released in 2014, and he's made tons of albums since. And I actually he's playing in Sweden quite a lot, and I think he's coming just about any day now, but he's not hitting anywhere near here, so I'm missing out this time. But I went to see him just before the pandemic, and such a great play, great songwriting, great vocals, great guitar playing as well. And this one has tons of great songs. This one is sort of, you can hear some Neil Young influences in this one. His later albums has been a little bit more mellow, which I'm quite fond of, but this one is a little bit sort of more in the Neil Young style. Nice fold out as well, some cool pictures. Great one. Israel Nash Gripka for this album, Barn Doors and Concrete Floors. And yet another artist, and one that's in Sweden quite often as well, and I think I mentioned this album before, Hanna Aldridge. The album is called Gold Rush, was released in 2017. And another one, I can't remember how I sort of discovered her. I think probably on Facebook or something, that she was touring around this part of Sweden. I haven't seen her for sort of, sometimes you want to see an artist and it's always something in the way whenever they play near your hometown, and she's one of those artists. But she's coming here quite regularly, I believe, so I'm hoping to see her. Also great sort of rootsy music that I'm really fond of, and great songwriting as well, and strong vocals, and yeah, generally a really good album. Well worth checking out. Hanna Aldridge, Gold Rush. And last but not least, I think this is sort of the Americana albums of all Americana, or roots music albums of them all. The band, The Last Waltz. There's the big live album they did before disbanding, and here you have everyone who's sort of worth mentioning in the world of roots music guesting on this one, and it sort of started the whole. I guess you could always discuss whenever this sort of genre started, and you probably somewhere around Bob Dylan and the band, but this one sort of sums it up in such a nice way that it's sort of the album you have to get if you're into this kind of music. You have tons of guest musicians here. You have Bob Dylan, you have Emmylou Harris, you have Ronnie Hawkins, Dr. John, Joni Mitchell, Van Morrison, The Staples, Muddy Waters, Neil Young, yeah, just about everyone. This is a really nice triple album that I got a bunch of years ago. No fold out on this one, and you have the 3 discs, and you also have a really nice booklet. That's something that I like, all those old albums with these sort of booklets. You have photos of all the guests and the band. The band. Yeah, such a great album, probably one of the best ones ever. And if you want to start getting into this music, that is probably the album to start with. It sort of sums it up really good. But there's tons of others, and I probably missed tons of them. So let me know, what are your favorite albums in this style of music, the Americana, roots, rock, or whatever you want to call it. I just realized now I don't sort of haven't mentioned any Neil Young albums, and you have like Harvest and Harvest Moon and those albums that are fantastic as well. But this is the ones I picked today, and as usual, if you ask me tomorrow, I will probably pick 7 different ones. But hey, it's all music and it's all fun, isn't it? So let me know in the comment section, what are your favorite Americana and roots albums. It's always sort of interesting to see what albums you pick, because there's tons of stuff I haven't heard, so it's always nice to sort of pick up stuff from your choices as well. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. There's a lot of more QUILL stuff coming. I think we will take a couple of days off now. It's been really hectic weeks doing a lot of stuff and relearning tons of new old songs again. So last week of the exhibition, make sure you don't miss that. And also make sure you follow us on social media. It's the QUILL Sweden for all the latest news. That's it for now. See you all again next week with a new episode. Take it easy, and be careful out there, as they said in the Hill Street Blues, one of my old favorite American detective series when I was a kid. I'm rambling. That's it for now. Cheers. Bye.